Ready! 46! Go!
Before a game, it's a pretty stressful time.
Game day, I was pretty much excited.
I used to label it as anxious rather than nervous, so I'd put a positive spin on it.
When the bright lights fade. I'm Melissa Etheridge.
I'm Jake Plummer, played quarterback in the NFL from 1997 to 2006. After the bright lights faded, I knew I would miss the game, miss it badly, but I also gave a lot of thought to my future mental and physical well-being. Found myself asking the question, was it worth it? And still to this day ask that question.
According to a recent study conducted by the Department of Veterans Affairs and Boston University, 96% of former NFL players suffer from the neurodegenerative disease known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
My name is Ruben Drones. I played fullback, running back, and special teams. I played about 9 years in the NFL. After the bright lights faded for me, it was more mental. For me, it was more, mental and anxiety and things of that nature. Like, I'm not the same person anymore. For me, I was even scared to go out in public and go to parties anymore and be in the scene anymore. It was just more, I was scared to be out there. I would honestly go into a place and start shaking.
My name is Nate Jackson. I played wide receiver for 2 years, tight end for 4 years, for a total of 6 years in the NFL with the Denver Broncos. All day, every day, when you're in the NFL, you are told exactly what to do, what time to do it. You have an itinerary for every week. It's right there on the paper. You follow orders, you go out on the field, you run the plays that you were told to run, you eat what is put in front of you, you wear the clothes that are put in your locker, you get on the bus at the same time. So it's a very structured, scripted life. Everyone treats you a certain way because of that. You're on TV, you're making a lot of money, everyone wants to hang out with you. And the day that ends, there's no warning about it. Someone taps you on the shoulder, says they need to talk to you upstairs, or you get a phone call and they say, this is it. Here's a garbage bag, go clean out your locker.
CTE is believed to stem from repetitive trauma to the head and can lead to conditions such as memory loss, depression, and dementia.
Charlie Adams, wide receiver and kick returner, 2002 to 2007. When the bright lights faded, I was, to be honest, I felt a little relief. Like I said, it was a pretty stressful job, but at the same time, I had a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety about what was coming next. I was playing football since I was 7 years old, so I really didn't know anything else. I always had coaches and guidance and people to kind of point me in the right direction. And when that came to an end, it's just me.
A recent comprehensive multimodel investigation suggests that retired NFL players are more likely to develop cognitive impairments or depression as they age compared with the general population.
Everything is scripted for you. You're told what to do. Football is about yes sir, obeying your superiors, obeying your coaches, obeying the media. When you're done, you got to figure out, okay, now I have to come up with a plan. So there's an inevitable period of depression. You're sad, you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know who you are outside of that system. You also have a lot of injuries to deal with, orthopedic stuff, brain stuff, psychological stuff.
My name's Tatum Bell. Played running back. Played from 2004 through 2009. After the bright lights faded, I went into my depression mode. I had 2 small kids at the time. I just had to, get through it and be a better father, because at that time I was just, I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to go outside and throw the football. I didn't want to do nothing. I had to do anything with football or sports.
Among retired players from the NFL who have a history of concussions, 40% have symptoms of depression, a rate nearly 3 times higher than that of the general population, according to research presented at the 65th annual meeting of the American Academy of Neurology.
It's tough. I know when Junior Seau, player that I played many games against and loved to watch play and respected, and one of the greatest ever, when he took his life, it really shook me and got me thinking, That's when a lot of that wasn't worth it started coming up in my brain, and my thoughts was, was this all worth it? You take a guy who on the outside was so happy and looked like everything was fine, but inside he was torn apart.
When you read these stories and seeing these guys taking their own lives, like even the kid that was in Kansas City shoots himself in front of his coach and in the GM, like that's crazy, like. So when you hear those stories and you think about like all the pain and the stuff that they're going through, and you're like, yeah, you know it, you're like, you can ask any NFL player like what they've been through, and you could probably ask most of them have they thought about suicide, and I'm sure a lot of them will tell you they have.
In the last decade, at least 8 former NFL players who committed suicide have since been diagnosed with CTE.
Of course, there is a neurological problem with these guys. It's not just psychological. It's not just, woe is me, I'm sad because I don't have football anymore. It's, we've been smashing brains every day, and that does something to your head. That does something to your brain, and it's permanent.
I can think back to middle school, and I can think back to high school days where I've had concussions. Like, I remember them clearly. But, back then it was the old, you got your bell rung term. It wasn't classified as a concussion. It was just, what you were able to handle, they would let you go back in there and play.
Suffers numerous concussions, so I feel like, like a lot of guys suffering from concussions, and it's a big thing now. I wish it would have been taken more serious back when I was playing, with the, the practice schedules, and, the no contacts and practice. A lot of guys' careers would be, extended if that was the case.
Many players are reluctant to report concussions or feelings of depression out of fear of being considered soft by fellow players and coaches.
When I read about this brain disease, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which these CTE, which these former players have, I hear the statistics, I hear the horror stories, you hear the worst part, you hear the worst stories, you hear the worst and the best, you don't really hear anything in the middle. The guys in the middle, you don't hear from them at all. So it's hard to form an accurate opinion of what guys are going through because no one knows where anyone is. And no one wants to be involved in these discussions for whatever reason because they bring a lot of bad memories out or whatever. Or guys feel like they're, pissing on the brand or something.
But you can't really tell what's going on behind closed doors. Nobody's gonna really tell you what's going on behind closed doors. Yeah, we're totally good friends and everything, but how often do you gonna tell your friend that, I'm thinking about going to kill myself tomorrow? Nobody's gonna talk about that. These are things that are hard to realize, because you're gonna put up that type of fad that, I'm good, I'm great, but really, I'm not. When I close that door behind me, what am I doing? How am I feeling? Am I gonna sit there and tell you that? No, a lot of guys are scared. A lot of guys aren't gonna wanna, put their business out there on the street like that, but they're going through something.
A preventative solution for neurological conditions like CTE may exist in cannabidiol, better known as CBD, a compound found in abundance in the hemp plant. CBD is non-psychoactive, non-toxic, non-addictive, and proven to stimulate the human endocannabinoid system, which regulates a variety of physiological processes, including pain sensation, mood, and memory.
My concern is for a lot of those guys that the consistent practice and games, those mild, low-level collisions that are proven to be the real cause of a lot of the CTE and the brain trauma that's causing dementia, Alzheimer's, memory problems.
The U.S. government holds a patent on cannabinoids, which include CBD, as neuroprotectants and antioxidants.
And it scares you. It really does scare you. What's next? Am I gonna fall? Am I gonna fall victim of dementia? Am I gonna fall victim of Alzheimer's?
I think, when I'm 55 years old, am I gonna be okay? Am I gonna be able to run around and, do activities like if I have kids by then, am I gonna be able to do the things that my father did with me?
A study published in the International Journal of Neuropharmacology points to CBD as a cause of neurogenesis in the brain, leading many to believe that regular use of CBD could prevent the onset of neurological diseases such as Alzheimer's and dementia.
Definitely the hits on your body and your brain, it's, you know, you're scared. You know, you don't know what 45 is going to look like. You know, you're scared what are you going to be like at 50? You know, am I going to be able to recognize my children at some point in time?
If players are given the opportunity to use CBD during the course of their career, it is possible we'd see a reduction in negative side effects from concussions and a decline in the presence of symptoms associated with CTE in current and former NFL players, as well as players at the semi-pro and collegiate levels.
It's definitely scary to hear the statistics, to hear what they're finding about the game, to know that that's done. I've done that. It's like, I mean, if it's damage, it's done. I'm not been playing any more football, but I guess it's good that we're talking about it. I guess it's good that it's coming out and people can make more informed decisions.
You know, a lot of these guys that the outside, what you see outside is all good. They're that football player, they're the star, they're the old superstar, but do we really know them internally? Do we really know their day-to-day lives and what it entails and how they go through struggles? And everyone has them, whether you're an old All-Pro Hall of Famer or a guy working at the grocery store. We all have issues we deal with, and I know that a lot of them stem from, you know, the brain trauma that is sustained during football. So I have a lot of concerns. A lot of these guys that I played with, I'm 40 and they're either 40 or some of them are older. I already have seen some with some of the side effects that are dealing with it day to day, and the regular fan doesn't know that. They don't really understand that. They look at the players today and want them to go win and do well for them now, but these old players definitely are struggling.
CTE research is a new area of study, and none of the research has involved CBD, despite unrelated studies indicating CBD as a potential treatment for many neurological disorders. The Realm of Caring is planning to begin research projects with Johns Hopkins University and other reputable research institutions to study whether CBD can aid both current and former NFL players by improving their health and the quality of their life.
I look at what the future holds, I don't know. So that question looms, was it worth it? Because, like I mentioned, your mental and physical well-being is much more important than laying claim to being a great quarterback or a great teammate or taking a team on a drive. So a lot of those thoughts when the bright lights faded were going through my head, and even still to this day.
We welcome the NFL, the NFLPA, current and former NFL players, and sports fans around the world to join us in our mission to advance the research of CBD and find a solution for those who are at risk for CTE and traumatic brain injury. Together, we can work toward a better quality of life for past, present, and future professional athletes who are at risk when the bright lights fade.